Okay, so get ready because we are about to start. I'm going to share my screen now and we will start. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you check if I can share my screen? It says host disable participant screen share. It doesn't let me share my screen now. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
ทุกคนเห็น
Okay. So today, as I told you before, we are going to use our student book at page 12 first. We're going to complete unit number 1, and then if we have time, which I think so, we are going to work our workbook. All right. So let's open our student book first at page number 12. Page number 12. Pay attention because we're going to learn a lot of grammar rules in this page. Let's start talking today about past continuous. Okay, page number 12, student book. Let's start talking about past continuous. We are going to learn the rules to write using past continuous tense. Okay, so pay attention and read with me. We use the past continuous to talk about an action in the past that goes on for some time. To form, we use was or were and ing verb. I'm going to read it one more time. When do we use past continuous tense? Okay, so when do we use past continuous tense? We use past continuous tense to talk about an action in the past.
Teacher, what is page 11?
What?
What is page 11?
We already completed page 11 on our last lesson, so we are going to start on page number 12 now. But if you have any questions about page 11, we can take a look at it at the end of the class. Okay, Paul? Okay. So again, today we are going to learn the rules to write using past continuous tense. Okay, so when do we use past continuous tense? We use the past continuous to talk about an action in the past that goes on for some time. To form the past continuous tense, we use was or were and an ing verb.
นักเรียนค่ะ past continuous นะคะโครงสร้างของมันคือ was were บวก verb ing นะคะแล้วก็จะเป็นลักษณะการทำกิจกรรม action นะคะการทำกิจกรรมกำลังเกิดขึ้นในอดีตนะคะเป็นการเล่าให้ฟังนะคะโอเค thank you ค่ะ teacher
Okay, now let's see. We are going to see some examples later so you can see these clearly. Okay, so by now, listen. We use the past continuous and the simple past when one action in the simple past interrupted another action in the past continuous. For example, when he saw me, Let's take a look at the first part. When he saw me, we are talking here using simple past. Remember, saw is the simple past tense of the verb see. When he saw me, the first part of the sentence used simple past. I was reading. And here, as we said in the first paragraph, we use was and an ing verb, reading, read plus ing, to form the past continuous. So when he saw me, I was reading. The first part of the sentence used simple past, and the second part of the sentence used past continuous. Was plus verb plus ing. Another way of saying this is I was reading when he saw me. In this case, we just changed the order of the sentence, but the meaning is still the same. I was reading. Now the first part use past continuous tense. I was plus verb plus ing. I was reading when he saw me. So like we said before, this action, the action in past continuous, was happening when something happened and interrupted that action. Okay?
ทีเชอร์บอกว่าถ้าเป็นลักษณะของกิจกรรม2 กิจกรรมนะคะจะใช้ past continuous และ past simple นะคะ past simple จะใช้กับเหตุการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นเหตุการณ์ที่มีเหตุการณ์1แทรกขึ้นมาเราจะใช้กับ simple past แต่เหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นเราจะใช้กับ past continue นะคะเช่นตัวอย่างเช่น when he saw me อันนี้คือเหตุการณ์ที่แทรกขึ้นมานะคะส่วน I was reading คือเหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นสมมุติครูเอกำลังสอนแล้วมีคนเข้ามาในห้องครูเอกำลังสอนเนี่ยเป็นเหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นเราใช้ past continue แต่คนที่กำลังเข้ามาตอนที่ครูเอสอนน่ะเป็นเหตุการณ์แทรกก็ใช้ past continue past simple นะคะเข้าใจไหมเข้าใจไหมคะเข้าใจเนาะเชิญครับปุญญวิทย์โอเคค่ะ thank you ค่ะทีเชอร์
Okay, let's take a look. We are going to stop here and then we are going to read the second and third part when we complete activity number 2 and 3 because we're going to talk about other grammar rules. So let's use this part. Let's focus now on past continuous and simple past. Remember, past continuous is the verb tense that we use to talk about an action in the past that goes on for some time. Okay, so let's take a look now at some examples and let's apply these grammar rules. Let's take a look at the first sentence. What we need to do is to circle the correct word. We need to circle, in this case, we have different verbs and we need to choose the right one using this rule we were just talking about. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. I'm going to read the first one and I want you to think which verb is the right one to complete the sentence. We were talking or we were talk when they heard us. Okay, so we have 2 options here, the verb talk and the verb talk plus ing. So let's take a look at the first part of the sentence. We were talking or we were talk.
เลือกเลยค่ะถ้าใส่ what were จะต้องตามด้วย verb ing เพราะฉะนั้นข้อที่1มันมี verb จะต้องใส่ ing หรือไม่ต้องใส่คะตอบคุย
ต้องใส่
เลือกอะไรตอบทิชเชอร์เลือกอะไร
talking
All right. Okay, so we have here past continued tense. We, like we said before, were, and then a verb plus ing. Okay, we were talking. The first part of the sentence use past continue. We were talking. And then the second part of the sentence use simple past. When they heard us. Remember, heard is the simple past, is the irregular simple past of the verb hear. Okay, let's take a look at number 2 now. When he saw me, I was looking or I was looking at a shirt.
Looking.
ตอบข้อ
Are you
ไหน
sure?
คะ
Looking.
Okay, so again, in this case, we are using the past continued tense in the second part of the sentence. So we need the verb with ing. I was looking at the t-shirt. When he saw me, I was looking at the t-shirt. We can also write the sentence changing the order. I was looking at the t-shirt when she saw me. It's exactly the same. Let's take a look at the next one now. I was running when I fell, or I was running when I was feeling down.
ข้อไหนคะ มันมี was word อยู่ข้างหน้าหรือเปล่า มีไหม
I feel.
I อะไร
I feel ค่ะ
Somebody else?
คนอื่นตอบอะไรคะ
I feeling.
Let's take a look. I was running when let's take a look at the first part together. I was running. Is it past continue or is it simple past here? I was running.
นักเรียนสังเกตเวนหลังเวนจะต้องตามด้วย verb ช่องสองเพราะฉะนั้นจะตามด้วย verb ing ได้ไหม ได้ไหมคะ
I was running. Pay attention to the verb.
ได้ไหม ไม่ได้
The verb,
เพราะฉะนั้นข้อนี้ตอบอะไรคะ
I feel. Feel.
okay, I fail. We pronounce this word fail, okay? So here in the first part of the sentence, we use past continue. We have a verb that ends with ing and the helping verb was in this case. I was running. So this action was happening when something else happened, when I fell. So we need to use simple past here, fell, to complete the sentence. I was running when I fell down.
นักเรียนจำคีย์เวิร์ดไว้หลังเว้นจะต้องตามด้วย verb ช่องที่สอง
Always pay attention to the verb, okay? Pay attention to how the verb is written, and that's how you know what verb tense are we talking about. Every time you see a verb plus ing, in this case that follow the verb plus ing and was or were, we are talking about past continue. Remember, was or were plus an ing verb is the past continued tense, like here. Who wants to read now number 4? Who wants to read number 4?
คิสอ่านเลยค่ะ number 4
When he arrived, they were drink or drank lemonade.
Okay, listen. When he arrived, they were drinking or they drank lemonade.
were drinking.
Okay, somebody else, another, do you agree?
มีใครตอบนอกเหนือจาก were drinking ไหม
Let's take a look at the first part of the sentence together. When he arrived, here we have...
Drank lemonade.
Let's take a look at the first part of the sentence together. When he arrived, now here in this part, we use simple past tense. Remember, verb plus ed is the simple past tense, okay? It's the regular simple past for the verb arrive. Remember, verb plus ed or verb plus t forms the simple past, the regular simple past tense. So here we use the simple past tense. So we know that now we need a past continuous tense to complete the sentence. And we have two options. They were drinking or they drank lemonade. The first one
Were
is the...
drinking.
Okay, that's the right option because this option is the past continuous tense. Okay, so we are going to make a circle. They were drinking. Drunk is, as you know, the simple past tense of the verb drink. So we know that this option is not right. We always use for this activity a combination of simple past tense, of simple past and past continuous. We can write the present continuous at the beginning or at the end. It doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. And let me see, who wants to read number 5 now? Somebody? Does somebody want to read number 5?
ใครจะอ่านข้อ 5 คะ
Any volunteer?
เอ็มไซน์
And Sam?
A bug on my leg.
Okay, very good. I was reading when I was feeling or when I felt a bug on my leg. Let's take a look at the first part together and then I'll let you tell me which is the right option. The first part.
When I feel.
Okay, very good. So the first part used past continue. We have a verb plus ing and was reading. Was plus verb and ing. So we know this is the past continue. And now we need a simple past verb to complete the sentence. So we have here the simple past tense of the verb feel. I was reading when I felt a bug on my leg. So felt is the irregular simple past of the verb feel. So again, I'm going to repeat the rules one more time. When do we use past continuous tense? When do we use past continuous tense? We use it to talk about an action in the past that goes on for some time. For example, we were talking, I was looking at a t-shirt, I was running, they were drinking, I was reading. Okay, to form the past continuous, as you know now, we use was or were plus the verb and ing. Talking, looking, drinking, and feeling or reading. Okay, verb plus ing, and before the verb we need was or were. Okay, that's how we form the past continuous tense. And we can write sentences mixing past continuous and simple past. There are two different verb tenses. We use these sentences to express that one action in the simple past interrupted another action in the past continuous. For example, I was reading when somebody knocked at the door. So I was doing something for a period of time when something else happened and interrupted the action that was happening. Okay? So we use simple past to talk about specific point in the past an action, and we use the past continue to talk about something that was happening for a period of time. Okay? Do you understand this? Do you want me to explain it one more time?
เข้าใจไหมคะ ตอบ teacher เร็ว
understand
Okay, everyone understands?
understand understand
Okay, okay. Are you sure? Because now we are going to change. We are going to talk about another rule. Do you want me to explain it one more time or it's okay?
ให้ teacher อธิบายอีกรอบไหมคะ
no
เดี๋ยวครูอธิบายให้อีกรอบหนึ่งนะคะ ถ้าสมมุติว่า past continuous เนี่ยมันจะเป็นเหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นในอดีตนะคะในอดีตนะโครงสร้างคือ was were บวก verb ing แต่ถ้าเป็นเหตุการณ์2เหตุการณ์เนี่ยมันเกิดขึ้นกำลังเกิดขึ้นเราก็ใช้ past continuous แต่ถ้ามีเหตุการณ์ใดเหตุการณ์หนึ่งมันขัดขึ้นมามันเกิดขึ้นมาในขณะที่เราทำเหตุการณ์นี้อยู่ไอเหตุการณ์ที่ขัดขึ้นมาเนี่ยเราจะใช้กับ past simple ก็คือ verb ช่อง2ใครเข้าใจแล้วยกมือใครเข้าใจแล้วพยักหน้าโอเคครับโอเค thank you ค่ะ
Okay.
มาแล้วก็ลงมาจริงๆก็
Okay. Now we are going to talk about another rule. We're going to talk about another rule. Listen, we use the modal verb should. Should is another category of verb that is called a modal verb. We use the modal verb should with another verb to give advice. So we use the modal verb should plus another verb to give advice. For example, you should, again, we have the modal verb should. You should help, here we have the other verb, your sister. So again, we use the modal verb should with another verb to give advice. For example, you should, modal verb, you should help, verb, your sister. You should help your sister. How do we form the negative of should? You shouldn't go to the mall. So let's take a look at the negative for a second. We have should plus N, then the apostrophe and T. So remember, this is the contraction for should not. You shouldn't or you should not go to the mall. Again, we use the modal verb should with another verb to give advice. For example, it's cold outside, you should bring a jacket. It's raining outside, you should take your umbrella. You should eat healthy food if you want to stay healthy. You shouldn't walk in the street alone. You shouldn't talk to strangers. You shouldn't eat a lot of sugar in your meals. You should pay attention in class. So as you can see, all these are different examples of advice. Okay, we use the modal verb should with another verb to give advice. The negative form of the modal verb should is shouldn't, and apostrophe and T at the end. This is the contraction for the words should not. The apostrophe replaces the O. Let's take a look at some examples now. Let's take a look at activity number 2 so we can see or we can apply this rule. We are going to apply this rule to complete activity number 2. So we need to use the modal verb should or shouldn't to complete the sentences. Let's take a look at the first one together. You, we have a missing word, in this case, again, should or shouldn't. You eat vegetables.
ชุด
ควรจะใส่ should หรือ
or
shouldn't ค่ะ
ชุด
Okay, you should eat vegetables. Again, we use the modal verb should plus a verb to give advice. You should eat vegetables. Why? Because it's good for your health.
คำว่า should ฟังนะคะ should เป็น modal verb นะคะ เป็นกริยาช่วย เพราะฉะนั้นกริยาช่วยของ should เนี่ยมันเป็นแสดงการให้คำแนะนำนะคะ should จะใช้กับประโยคที่แสดงการแนะนำมี2รูปแบบแบบบอกเล่ากับแบบปฏิเสธ แบบบอกเล่าก็ should อย่างเดียวไม่มี not นะคะแต่ถ้าเป็น should n apostrophe t ก็มาย่อมาจาก should not เข้าใจไหมคะ ใครเข้าใจยกมือพยักหน้าหน่อยโอเค
Let's take a look now at the second one. You should or shouldn't run in the street. What do you think? Should or shouldn't?
shouldn't
All right, you shouldn't. The negative way that you shouldn't run in the street. Why? Because it's dangerous. So you shouldn't run in the street. Did you finish?
เสร็จหรือยังคะใครเขียนยังไม่เสร็จมีไหมไม่มีเนาะซันเสร็จหรือยังครับ
ยังไม่
แล้วครับ ผ
Okay.
มเสร็จแล้วครับ
เสร็จ
โอเค
แล้
ครั
ว
บ
ค่ะ
โอเคโอเค
Let's take a look at the last one now.
ยังไม่เสร็จ
You-
ครับยังไม่เสร็จครับยังไม่เสร็จครับยังไม่เสร็จค
ครับ รับครับเขียนไปเขียนไป
Let's take a look at the last one now. You tell people where are you going. You should or shouldn't tell people where are you going. What do you think is the right option? Should or shouldn't? When you go somewhere, when you go somewhere, when you go somewhere and you go alone, you should or you shouldn't tell people where are you
shouldn't.
going. When you go, let's say you go out alone.
ชุด
Let's say you go out, you want to go to the market to buy some groceries or to buy a snack. You should or you shouldn't tell your parents, for example, okay, you should tell people
ทำไมชุด
where you are going. For example, if you go, let's say you go to the shop to buy a snack, you should tell your parents, you must tell your parents where you are going.
เสร็จแล้วครับ
the same. For example, if you are walking in a
log
place, let's say you're walking, let's say you're walking in a big shopping mall with your parents and you want to go toilet and you see the toilet. You cannot just go alone. First, you have to tell your parents that you want to go to the toilet so they can go with you. So you should tell your parents where are you going, because if not, nobody knows where you are and then they will get worried about you.
ที่เชื่อบอกว่าถ้าคุณจะไปไหนอ่ะคุณจะต้องบอกคุณพ่อคุณแม่ไหมบอกไหมตอบคุณเอ
ต้อง งบอกครับ
ต้องบอกเพราะฉะนั้นต้องใช้ชูดไม่ใช่ชูดดึ้นนะเข้าใจไหมคะคุณเยาวิทย์ปิดไมค์ด้วยค่ะ
วันนี้วิชาที่เท่าไหร่อ่ะ
Did you finish?
ครูครับวันนี้วิชาที่เท่าไหร่
วิชาแรกครับ
Did you finish?
เสร็จหรือยังคะบอกทีเชอร์หน่อย
Good morning. Okay. Do you have any question regarding should and shouldn't? Do you have any questions about this grammar rule?
มีใครเข้าใจแล้วคะระหว่างชุดการใช้ชุดกับ shouldn't ใครเข้าใจแล้ว
ผมเข้าใจแล้วครับ
โอเคครับ
Okay. So now we're going to talk about, I know there are a lot of grammar rules on this page, but don't worry because we are going to practice once we use the workbook. So now we're going to talk about another grammar rule. We are going to use this. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this chart that appeared on your screen. We are going to talk about some words that are called adverbs of frequency. Again, now we are going to talk about some words that are called adverbs of frequency. Let's take a look at this table. We have a few words here: always, usually, often, sometimes, and never. Again, these words, always, usually, often, sometimes, never, are called adverbs of frequency. We use these words to say how often a person does something. Again, we use these words, always, usually, often, sometimes, and never, to say how often a person does something. If we use the word always, it means that that person does something all the time, 100% of the time. Okay? If we use usually, it means that somebody does something, let's say 80% of the time.
Teacher, may I go to toilet, please?
Yes. If we use the word often, it means that somebody does or do something 60% of the time. Sometimes it's just 30% of the time, and never it's at no time, like 0% of the time. So we have both extremes here. Always means 100% of the time. For example, I always go to school on Monday. Okay, so 100% of the time is the meaning of always. I never go to school on Sunday, let's say. Never means 0% of the time. In between always and never, we have three words. Usually means 80% of the time. Let's say there are 7 days of the week and you, let's say you read the book 5 days a week. So you can say, I usually read a book during the week. So 80% of the days of the week, I know that I'm reading a book. So we use the word usually. I usually read a book during the week. It means, let's say, about 5 days of the week. Let's try to find an example for often. For example, 60% of the time. So it would be, let's say, 4 times a week. Let's say, okay, I often play soccer with my friends. Let's say 4 days of the week. I often play soccer with my friends. It would mean that I play soccer more or less 4 days of the week. Let's use one example for some time. 30% of the time would be around 2 days a week. Let's say, okay, I sometimes go to the park, which would be about 2 days a week. I sometimes go to the park. Okay, so this is the difference between these words. Remember, these words are called adverbs of frequency. We use these words to say how often a person does something. Okay? Now, let's take a look at activity number 3. We need to complete the missing adverb of frequency. We need to complete the missing word.
ใคร teacher sorry
Yes.
ใครไม่เข้าใจบ้างเรื่องการบอกเวลา
ผมครับ
โอเค อันนี้เป็นตัวบอกเวลานะคะ เป็นตัวบอกเวลา เป็นกริยาวิเศษบอกเวลานะคะ ความถี่ของการทำกิจกรรม อย่าง always ทำเป็นประจำเลย เช่น แปรงฟันทุกวัน ใครไม่แปรงฟันทุกวันบ้างมีไหม
ไม่มีครับ
มีด้วยเหรอ คนที่แปรงฟันทุกวัน
ไม่มีค
ห
รั
รื
บ
อทำกิจกรรมทุกวันจะใช้คำว่า always เข้าใจไหมครับ ส่วนถ้าเป็น usually สมมุติมี7 วันทำไป5 วัน เช่นสมมุติมาโรงเรียน5 วัน เราจะใช้คำว่า usually เข้าใจไหมคะ แต่ไม่ได้มา2 วัน ส่วน often บ่อยๆ มี 60% ก็คือสมมุติมี7 วัน เราทำประมาณ 4 วันนะคะ อาจจะอ่านหนังสือ4 วันอย่างเงี้ย บางคนไม่ได้อ่านหนังสือเลย ก็ต้องใช้คำว่าอะไรตอบคุยถ้าไม่อ่านหนังสือเลยใช้คำว่าอะไร never นะคะ never ก็คือไม่ได้ทำกิจกรรมนั้นเลย เข้าใจไหมคะ ไม่ได้ทำเลย sometime อาจจะทำมาแค่ 2-3 วัน เช่นสมมุติอาจจะไปช้อปปิ้งกับคุณพ่อคุณแม่แค่ 2-3 วันเสาร์อาทิตย์อย่างเงี้ยเราก็ใช้ sometime เข้าใจไหมคะ เพราะฉะนั้นค่ะไอเนี้ยตัวบอกเวลาในการทำกิจกรรมนะคะ ใครเข้าใจแล้ว
1 วันเป็นซัมไทม์ได้ไหมครับ
อะไรนะคะ
1 วันเป็นซัมไทม์ได้ไหมครับ
ได้ครับผมเข้าใจไหม
เข้าใจครับ
ใครเข้าใจแล้วยกมือขับพยักหน้าให้ครูเอฟังหน่อยเข้าใจยังตอบครูเอด้วย ใครเข้าใจแล้วตอบครูเอด้วย
เข้าใจครับ เข้าใจครับ เข้าใจครับ
ตอบทิเชอร์ด้วย understand หรือ
understand
โอเค
Okay.
understand
Okay, perfect. So what we are going to do now is to use these words, usually, sometimes, always, and never, to complete these 4 sentences. I'm going to read all the options first, and then I want you to think which is the right word to complete the sentence. So let's start with number 1. We have to complete again the sentences using usually, sometimes, always, and never. Number 1
always
means all the time. which
All
is
the
the
time.
word that means all the time.
ทำทุกตลอดเลย ใช้อะไรคะ
always always
Yes.
Okay.
เขียนลงไปเลยครับ
Always. So let's complete. Always means all the time. Always means all of the time. 100% of the time. All the time.
เสร็จยังเอ่ย
เสร็จแล้วค่ะ
โอเค
Always means all the time. 100% of the time. Then it says, we have a missing word here, means a lot of the time. A lot of the time. Which one?
Sure.
ตอบห
Are
น่อย
you
ค่ะ
sure?
Usually.
Okay, usually means a lot of the time, like 80% of the time. Usually means a lot of the time. Then we have number 3. Another missing word means not all the time. Means not all the time.
Never. Sometimes.
ไม่ทำตล
Sometimes
อ
or
ด
never.
ไม่ทำตลอด
Sometimes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
sometimes means not all the times, like 30% of the time. Sometimes.
Never.
And then number 4 means at no time.
ไม่ทำเลย ใช้อะไร
Never. Okay, never means at no time, like 0% of the time. Never.
ใครเสร็จแล้วหยิบ workbook ขึ้นมาเลยค่ะ หนังสือ workbook ปุญญาวิทย์เสร็จแล้วหรือยัง
Do you have
ยัง
any?
ครับ
รอ
If you don't have any questions about this page, we are going to, don't worry, because we are going to talk about these grammar rules when we use the workbook
โอเคครับ
and complete these activities.
หน้านี้
When-
ใครมีคำถามถามทิชเชอร์ไหมเอ่ยว่าไม่เข้าใจตรงไหน
ไม่มีค่ะ
no you answer in English not in Thai
so,
understand or not
do you
understand
understand?
Understand.
Okay, so
Understand.
okay, so let's go. We have 10 minutes. Let's go to the workbook. Okay, let's go to page number 2.
เปิด workbook ค่ะหนังสือ workbook หน้า 2หนังสือ workbook หน้า
Page number 2. Let me see if we have time. Have 10 minutes. Okay, what we can do is to just focus on the first activity and complete, if we have enough time, complete some answers. If we don't finish on time, we're going to continue next class. So what we need to do now is to read and answer the questions. Here we have a family that is going to the shopping mall. So we are going to read what are the speakers saying and what is this kid saying. And then after that, based on what we hear here, we're going to answer these questions, all right? So let me see, 51. Okay, I'm going to read. I want you to listen, also read with me, and then we're going to answer some questions. So listen, pay attention. The speaker says, a mother lost her daughter, Pam. They were buying new shoes in the shoe store at the shopping mall when she lost Pam. Pam is 10 years old. She is short and thin. She has long brown hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a blue t-shirt and black pants. And then the kid says, oh, that's me. Again, there is a message that came out of the speaker. A mother lost her daughter, Pam. They were buying new shoes in the shoe store at the shopping mall when she lost Pam. Pam is 10 years old. She is short and thin. She has long brown hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a blue t-shirt and black pants.
เหลืออีกกี่นาทีอะครับ
So we have the first question here. How old is Pam? How old is she? Who can tell me the answer? Not only how old, but the full answer. I want to hear the full answer for the question. How old is Pam?
ใครตอบทีเชอร์ได้เอ่ยแพมอายุเท่าไหร่
เห็น
How old is Pam?
ครูครับเหลืออีกกี่นาทีอะครับ
เหลือ20 นาทีครับ
10 year old
ตอบ
Okay.
ได้ยัง
So let's write the full answer. Pam is 10 years old.
เขียนลงไปเลยค่ะ
Or she, okay, we can write her name, Pam, or the pronoun she. She is, or Pam is 10 years old.
ซันเขียนลงไปเลยครับ
We are going to stop here because we only have 5 minutes left. So complete the first one. And that will be all for today. We will continue next class. We will use the workbook again, and we will continue with this activity. So we're going to finish here today. Complete answer number 1, and then you can close your book.
ให้ตอบข้อ 1ให้เสร็จนะคะ เหลืออีก5 นาที เขียนให้เสร็จ แล้วเดี๋ยวจะมาต่อชั่วโมงถัดไปนะคะ
คุณครูเอครับวิชาต่อไปวิชาอะไรอะครับ
ภาษาไทยครับผม
ภาษาไทยครูเมา
So today we learned a lot of things. We learned past continue.
อีกกี่นาทีอะครับ
Remember
ผมรอไม่ไหวแล้วครับ
Remember to write the past continue.
เอา
We
ภาษาไทยกี่โมง
listen. To write the past continue, we use was, or, were, plus verb, plus ing. For example, I was reading when my sister knocked at the door. So we use past continue to talk about something that happened during a period of time in the past. Remember, past continue. Then we talked about modal verbs. We talk about the modal verb should. We use the modal verb should to give advice. For example, you should eat fruits. The negative way of the modal verb should is shouldn't. For example, you shouldn't run in the street. Remember, we use the modal verb should plus a verb. Should or shouldn't plus a verb. You should eat, you shouldn't walk. Okay, modal plus verb. And then finally, we talk about another grammar rule. We talked about adverbs of frequency. Remember, always means all the time. Never is in the other extreme, means at no time. Okay? Always means 100% of the time. Never means at no time or 0 time. And in between, we have usually, that means about 80% of the time. And then we have sometimes, that means about 30% of the time. So remember those rules. We will use those rules later on when we complete the activities on the web. So did you finish? Did you finish answer number 1? Yes? So
Yes.
that was all for today.
Yes.
I will see you again next class.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. See you next class. Bye-bye.
Bye. Teacher, bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye ค่ะ teacher
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
จบตอนที่แก้วมาลิงกิงกองแก้วมาลิงกิงกอง